Joining us in studio.
What?
Live in the Thunderdome.
Hell yeah.
There's a man that was born and raised here in Indiana. He's something of an absolute hero here in Indiana. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, Indiana is the home of the Indianapolis 500, but it's also home to a lot of racing. Mm-hmm. So whenever these are little kids here, you know who your heroes are?
Who's that?
Fucking race car drivers.
Damn right.
Before Peyton Manning got here,
But
it was not a football town. No. It was a racing town and a basketball town. So a lot of young racers come up through Indiana. And one that came up through the Indiana racing system that went on to not only win the IndyCar Series.
what?
He's going to win the NASCAR Cup Series 3 times.
What?
And on August 30th, I do believe, in Brownsburg, Indiana, this motherfucker's going to be drag racing too. If it has an engine in it, he wants to race it. And he's not just going to race it, he's going to win it.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Smoke Stewart. Did I accurately describe that, though, about Indiana? I'm from Pittsburgh, so when I came out here, it was a little bit of a culture shock. They love racing out here, and it is the thing that little kids do all the way up through. It is a career path, right?
That is a fact. You either were born with a steering wheel in your hand or a basketball in your hand in this state until Peyton Manning came around.
How's your jumper? Pretty good or no?
I'm terrible.
Oh, okay, but you, hey, steering wheel.
And Bird lives about 5 miles from me, down by Columbus. He's got his Eagle Ranch, and then I've got Hidden Hollow Ranch. We're pretty
Cabela's.
close.
Yeah, that Cabela's down there.
Is that? Hold on. You're talking about this.
Ooh.
That's my place.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we found out about this, I think, like a year ago. It went up for sale, I believe. And we said, or it hit the internet, maybe they were describing it. And we said, who the fuck lives in this place? They're like, Tony Smoke Stewart. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. There's like a fishing pond in the middle of this thing, right?
It's got a pond and a big tank inside.
Hey, you done good, man.
Wow.
It's like a small Bass Pro.
Yeah, you've done good. You have done good with your life. You should be incredibly proud. Let's dive into the convo we just had right there. So you're the only guy, I believe, to have Cup Series championships in both IndyCar and in NASCAR. Congratulations, Grayson.
Let's go.
IndyCar, they're going 230.
Almost 230 now, yeah.
230 miles an hour. Different style of racing. NASCAR going 199.
Right.
About 200, right?
Yep.
So two different speeds. F1 going, what are they doing?
I think the fastest they go is like 190, 185, 190.
I want to let you know, just this is not even me taking a stand for like Indiana now that I'm an Indiana resident and everything like that. My wife and her family, massive IndyCar fans. That F1 thing, I don't understand how people like it.
It's a shame.
It is so fucking boring. Like it is, you probably can't say you don't want to start up. You're probably raced over there or going to go race over there. But I don't like that style of racing. I enjoy IndyCar. I enjoy NASCAR. But what you're about to do here in a few weeks in Indianapolis, and I think you have a couple cars in, this drag racing shit's the real deal. Obviously, we used to watch a show where pink slips were up for grabs. And Fast and Furious has this thing happen. But I used to live on the west side of Indianapolis in Brownsburg where this drag strip is. We got these fucking things going like 300. How fast are these things going?
Yeah, both the Top Fuel and funny cars run over 330.
Damn.
These dudes are strapping them, and a lot of women drivers, a lot of lady drivers.
My wife drives this car.
What? 300 and what?
330.
330 miles, strapping themselves in, okay? Strapping themselves.
How many G's? How many G's is that?
6 G-forces positive
Jeez.
when they leave, and then when they hit the chutes, it's negative 6.5 Gs.
Jeez.
You got
My
12
God.
G-force swing.
So
when you
how do
go
we
from
get
the gas to the
So I
chute.
know like good old boys. I think if you go back to NASCAR beginnings, I think they're trying to soup it up for moonshine to kind of get the cars to outrun the cops and everything like that. But I feel like all these racing go-karts, even we got 4 of them outside. We're gonna fucking smoke.
Hell yeah.
Y'all get it out of your system now because I'm going to annihilate your asses. Just saying.
He ain't doing shit.
Yep. Yes, it will.
It's gonna take all of you to stop me. Just saying.
No, we're just trying not to get lapped. That's the goal. Is
the goal.
Goal is to try not to get lapped. I'm 255 too. I feel like I got quite a disadvantage, but I did tell them to just a little bit, and they can do that because I believe most of this racing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is literally just like good old boys that enjoy building engines. Like, how did we start getting to a point where we're strapping humans to race cars that are going 330 miles an hour? And how often is this happening? And like, I watched one in Ohio. There's one in Indianapolis. How many of these NHRA events are kind of taking place? And what all, this is terrible to ask, but like 330 miles an hour, human, there's a lot that can go wrong. Is that how?
Very accurate.
Okay, good.
Very accurate. No, there's 22 national events across the country. I'm racing in Pennsylvania this weekend with the regional series, so there's 7 regions in the country. NHRA has 4 pro divisions. They have Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, and Pro Stock Bike. And then all the other divisions are technically sportsman divisions. So I run the top alcohol dragster class. Top Fuel and Funny Car only run 1,000 feet. So they're running 330 plus mile an hour in 1,000 feet. My class is the same style of car, different motor configuration, runs the full quarter mile and only runs 280 miles an hour.
Only, yeah, you're going.
Well, I
so
say
you're
that
an
because
embarrassment.
yeah, well, if you listen to the Q&As, there's women that go, well, what's it feel like that your wife drives faster than you?
Yeah, so your wife is a boss out at 330 miles an hour. She's going faster than you've ever been, right?
True, but she can only do it for 3.5 seconds. I can do it for 3.5 hours. So, come on.
Look at you. Yeah. Hell yeah. I've seen these internet ads. Got the algorithm doing its thing. So you would just race whatever? Did you grow up racing go-karts and then kind of come up through the whole process? And why did you make the jump from IndyCar to NASCAR when you did? And why are you in the NHRA now? Has this always been a hobby?
So I started in go-karts at 8. I raced for a local company in Greenfield, Indiana, Comet Kart Sales. Mark Dismore, who was my teammate in IndyCar the first
That's
year.
the karts that are outside right now.
Yeah.
Oh, ain't that convenient?
He might got it.
Yeah, he might do some shit. But you start in go-karts, right?
Yeah, graduated high school and started moving up. I ran in USAC, which is based out of the west side of Indianapolis and Speedway, the United States Auto Club, and ran sprint cars, midgets, Silver Crown cars, and then got an opportunity at literally within a month of each other to drive for a NASCAR team and an IndyCar team. And luckily, the IndyCar series only had 5 races the first year. The stock car team was willing to let me do both. And then at the end of '96, Joe Gibbs hired me. I went 2 more years in NASCAR's Xfinity Series and then went to the Cup Series in '99.
And that's where all the money was at that time, right? NASCAR had a big jump. That was like the premier thing. Now, is it just kind of communicated about like NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, all these different leagues? It's just like that's the like kind of what everybody's shooting for? Or is there like certain styles of driving that you knew you weren't going to be able to do?
Yeah, I think it's more, honestly, it depends on what you want to do. And you know, kids and parents are training their kids early. They get them down a path. You either want to go IndyCar racing or you want to go NASCAR racing or you want to go drag racing.
Oh, this is happening in racing. It's happening in sports too.
Yeah.
Where it's like specialty training and you don't really get to diversify of it all.
That's exactly right.
Kind of bullshit happening in sports. I assume it sounds like that in racing too.
It is, but you know, we got guys like Kyle Larson who come from the dirt track ranks and run sprint cars all the time, and he's awesome in Cup. But he comes back and he runs dirt late models and dirt sprint cars.
We need to keep him out of sim. You know, you can keep him out of the sim. Right. But he is an incredible driver.
Yes.
Incredible. Have you always just been a better driver than everybody else? Like in go-karts, there was like a thing whenever you were in there?
I don't know. I learned I was too lazy to work a real job at a young age. So I figured I had to be good at something.
So are you more courageous? Got more like, why do you think you over other people when it comes to the driving game?
I don't know. I honestly don't have a good answer for that. I did my deal and I didn't worry about what everybody else did. We just did it our way. We stuck to our program. We always, even when we won, we always tried to figure out how could we have done it better. And I think that's what.
So you just
really,
love racing?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Fucking love racing.
Man, that number 20 Home Depot fucking flying around that track.
Ooh. Listen, Tony, you
Those
just
were
want
good days then.
6 to midnight right there.
Yeah.
You pooping in that suit?
No.
Peeing?
No. Occasionally you had to.
Gotta let go.
It's not like they say, hey, there's a rest area a mile down the road. We're going to stop for 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
Yeah, that's not fun. My bladder's active too. I think that's why I probably wasn't a driver, if I had to guess. I'm 255. That's way too big to be a driver.
So my driver that drives this car is 255. He's a big
that's
boy.
hurting you guys, isn't it? Isn't that hurting you guys? Doesn't that hurt in racing?
Well, a little bit.
Hey, bud.
But he's good. He's won 3 world championships, so I'm going to say
maybe it helps.
Hold on.
Maybe the momentum.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe I'm at the advantage today of these go-karts.
John Force, a big boy, kind of in there?
he's not near as big as my guy is. My guy, like literally, you paint my guy green, he is the Incredible Hulk.
See, that's what I'm talking about, though. He's 255, right? Big guy.
He's a man.
But in racing, that is huge, right? Most
yeah,
people,
that's way big for a race car driver.
Most people kind of got to be born to be a driver, right?
You want to be small to be a good.
And you got to have huge gut sack, though. Like you got to death at every single corner. And when you started, they didn't even have the brain head helmet stability thing, right?
No head and neck restraints, no containment seats that came all the way around. It was a lot more simple and primitive back then. But I mean, the safety side of it, our sport, both in NHRA, IndyCar, NASCAR, has come a long way in the last 10 years.
I know
it's
AJ has
way
like
better.
1,000 questions for you. I just had to motor off mine. I'm so pumped to be chatting with you. What do you got, AJ?
Tony, I'm curious if there's anything you haven't raced yet, any kind of vehicle, a boat, maybe the Red Bull air racing situation that you haven't got into that you might in the future.
It's funny you bring that up because I got a chance to drive the funny car at IRP here about a month ago or a month and a half ago, and we were trying to figure out what cars have I. We started with what have I driven. Then we got frustrated and said it's going to be a lot easier just to try to find the list of cars I haven't.
Yeah, haven't raced that.
And it's not been very much. I mean, southeast corner of Indianapolis has the speedrome. They do the World Figure 8 Championships there.
The
I've never
school
done
buses,
that.
right? Isn't there a school bus race too?
Well, they do school buses as well, but they got tricked out late models that are Figure 8 cars that haul ass around there.
That's an accident, right? T-bone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it has
and
to
I broke
happen.
my back 4 times already. I'm like, maybe
signing up for the
maybe we
T-bone
skip
race.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might skip that one. And swamp buggies in Florida. That's the other division we haven't ran yet.
So what are you waiting on? What's the deal? You
I don't know. I don't want to get upside down in a car and get stuck in and I can't breathe. So that choking with water thing's not a good deal.
Yeah, but from what I just learned just from quick talking to you, I don't think you have that, like, you know what I mean?
That
Because you were
common
racing
sense
back
part?
in the day before, because it was Earnhardt, right? I mean, that changed the entire scene of the whole thing. I watched that documentary. I think McGee did it.
He did, yeah.
Ryan McGee did the documentary. I watched that whole thing. You guys just kind of understood that this could happen at any given moment. And that was before there was even the, what's the barriers that aren't on the track?
Safer barriers, yeah.
On the
walls.
Styrofoam and fiber emergency something. I forget what it's called. Because they just raced in a place that didn't have it. And McGee was pissed. Remember?
Yeah.
He was so mad about it. Back in the day, you guys were just like daredevils pretty much.
Well, they did as much as they knew they could do at the time. But then after Dale Sr.'s accident, everybody really put a lot of focus on making sure, how do we keep this from happening again? And there were guys getting killed in race cars. I mean, it's always been that way.
Scary sport.
But every decade, the amount of guys that die in race cars keeps getting smaller and smaller, and the injuries are smaller and smaller. I mean, you still have big injuries. You still have guys getting paralyzed. You have guys that have brain trauma. But the amount of opportunities and the amount of times that happens keeps getting smaller and smaller, and the sport keeps getting safer and safer. And it's across the board. It's not just NASCAR, not just Indy cars, sprint cars, NHRA drag racing. Everybody put a full court press on how do they take the cars in their series and find a way to make it safer to keep these drivers from being hurt.
How old are you?
52.
So what? You look good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
He does. Smoke
Yeah, he
looks
does.
good.
Yeah.
Smoke looks
Still got it.
Smoke look good.
Yeah, smoke does look good right now. Good height. Hey, you've been utilizing, good lotioning and stuff.
Straight hair.
What does slow you down? Like, because old drivers are terrible. We all see them.
Yep.
On the road.
Sure.
We're all pushing for like a new driver's test at a certain age. I think like everybody who's on the road is pushing for that. For you can drive forever, or what would stop you from racing cars? You think?
I don't know. That's what I like about drag racing. My class runs a quarter mile in 5.2 seconds. So I can get semi-banged up the night before and be in good enough shape to run 5 seconds. Now, a 3-hour cup race, maybe not so much. But a 5-second race, the only thing you got to do is you got to do everything correctly. You got to do all the procedure right, the cadence of how you do the whole routine. But you better be ready when those lights turn on. You better be ready to go, because when that light changes, and you can win it or lose it on that tree. So.
Yeah, we're gonna need an IV this morning. Last night's coming a little harder than it has in the past. Ty has a question for you, Smoke.
Smoke, back when you were running NASCAR, like, you were a household name. So if someone who wasn't really a fan of NASCAR, like, they knew who Tony Stewart was, they knew who Jeff Gordon was, and then Jimmy Johnson. It seems like nowadays that really isn't the case anymore. Do you think NASCAR in general is like deeper now? And do you think we'll ever get to a point again where we'll have multiple drivers where even if you're not a fan of the sport, like you have that celebrity status? Like, are we ever going to get back to that point with NASCAR, or is it kind of hurt by F1's explosion and how popular IndyCar is now?
And NHRA might pop off, dude. I didn't know you guys were going 330 fucking miles.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absurd.
I honestly think it's because of how young everybody is in NASCAR. It's like when an 18-year-old kid is, when they're trying to drive in the truck series, they're 15 years old, they can run the short tracks. When your mom or dad has to drive you to the race shop, it's hard for people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. How do you rally around that? I mean, I sat there and tried to tell them, I'm like, when was the last time all of you went to a high school football game? Nobody raised their hand. I said, because nobody, unless your kid's playing, you don't go to a high school football game. So why are we putting 18-year-olds in these cars and expecting the fans to go, that's my guy? The kid just got his damn diploma. He doesn't have life experiences. He hasn't had to sleep in his car on the side of the road because he couldn't afford a hotel room maybe between 2 nights of racing. These kids don't have these experiences. So that's where I think we've hurt ourselves in the sport of trying to keep pushing these kids younger and younger and younger. We got 14, 12-year-old kids trying to drive sprint cars now, and I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, you got to earn, right? You got to earn.
Well, not only that, but think about the safety side of it. A 12-year-old kid, his body's not mature. His body's growing and developing. You take a hard hit then.
Dangerous too, right? Because I used to, here in Indiana, there's a lot of sprint car tracks are everywhere, and obviously I lived actually 5 minutes from that thing. I don't know if you were doing it at the time, but y'all motherfuckers practice late night going into that thing. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you know that, like all the racers,
some of us are trying to sleep.
Fairly sanitary. These guys are not sanitary. These guys that drive these cars are nuts.
Yeah, well,
and they don't care about what time you're going to sleep.
Bingo, those things are. It is.
But it's only for 5 seconds.
Yeah, which is even worse.
Just roll over.
Yeah, well, then you're whoa, holy shit! Is what is going what's going on inside, and then you get going, and then something went wrong. Obviously, I can't win with it. You start judging these fuckers, and it's a whole thing. But it is a shot of adrenaline I couldn't even fathom. You chasing that for the rest of your life, you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. Because I'll go like 80 on the street. I'm like,
sweet. Oh, shit.
Hands going low. Driving, this is like such a
I drive my motorhome at 90.
Jesus.
So you are like one of those professional drivers that, because the standard answer that always happens in like radio shows whenever they talk about.
No, I don't drive that fast. What's in your garage?
Yeah, there we go.
Honestly, I drive a Ford Raptor pickup truck. Everywhere.
Dog.
So awesome.
Everywhere.
What do you do? Just fucking go out there, fish on the back of the Ford Raptor?
Actually, I shot a deer off the hood of the Raptor this winter. So
just standing on it?
I mean, I am from southern Indiana. We do some pretty stupid shit down there.
Yeah, well, I've actually been down there. Yeah, I've done some dumb shit down there for sure. Had a good time, though.
Well, if you went down there, you had to do dumb shit because that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah, I was kind of get peer pressured in there, but I don't know if all of it is considered dumb. It's just a different way to have fun, I do believe. Yeah. And Smoke, we appreciate you stopping by. We got to get our race started outside. I cannot wait for that. Hey, if you rigged this thing, which it sounds like you did, because the guy you raced with in high school was the one who brought the carts here.
Yeah, messed up.
Well, we don't know that for sure. I just saw the logo on the side of whoever's trailer's out there.
I just saw the company's name. That's what you knew.
I didn't see anybody out there I knew, let's put it that way.
Oh.
We'll find out in a minute when we get outside.
So what would your advantage be, though? You just understand you'll be able to pick up this track quicker than we would be able to. Like, you're driving on the road.
Well, the first thing is I'm going to get an advantage on weight. So I'm 175 pounds, so I'm going to get a weight advantage. Second thing is I'm going to know how to apex the corners and how to open my entry up, how to make the corner as big as I can to carry the most speed I can.
We
and then
gotta
I'm
learn
going to
that.
try to
We'll
not
watch a YouTube video.
get mashed by you guys.
We'll watch a YouTube video. When you're driving on the streets, are you an aggressive driver or?
Overly.
Okay, so
Unfortunately.
all the other drivers are like, no, that's scary.
Very tame. Yeah.
I'm scared to drive with you guys on the track. I feel comfortable. You're like, no. You guys
My
suck.
road. Same thing.
I desperately wish that Ford would come out with a new Raptor with like a plow on the front of it, like on a train or like a snow plow.
Sure.
And when the old people are in the left-hand lane sitting there reading their phones or whatever they're doing,
Yeah, they should not be doing that. Yeah, take them out.
Yeah.
Flip them over.
Hey, they got flying cars coming soon. I can't wait to see what you do with those. Can't wait to see what you do with those.
I'll
Boats.
figure something out.
Did you go down to that regatta down there? Where was that here in Indiana? Where that where that boat did that backflip. You know the regatta that happens here in
Madison.
Madison, yeah. Did you see? Are you ever going to race those boats? To AJ's question, no. Don't fuck with water.
Doesn't have enough wheels on it.
Yeah. Yep. Smart.
How about 2 wheels?
Not enough wheels.
Perfect.
All the time. 4.
They got it figured out. Whenever they did that, everything else is fuckery. We appreciate the hell out of you, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Smoke Stewart.